Okay, so thank you very much for having us here. It's really very fruitful and pleasure visit, both here and also I've been yesterday at Utrecht to meet with Matan. So I will talk today, this is the title of my talk, From Individuals to Co-operations, a roadmap to society 3.0. And I will talk about maybe more about the theoretic aspects that we have developed within Azuz, but then understood that the same theories or the same models will eventually enable an arbitrary decentralized application or decentralized organizations. And in parallel to developing the transportation front, we are making more of the infrastructure for the future decentralized organization and society. And in fact, we also understood that this kind of set of toolkit, I would say, set of tools is really required also for Azuz in order to be able to function truly as a centralized organization. I will explain exactly what I mean by that. Okay, so let me start with just a small anecdote. This is my son, this is my older son, Reli, he's 4 years old. And a few days ago, he came to my bed. I went to sleep very late, and he woke me up very early, so I was kind of half asleep. And he said, "Come, Daddy, you have to see my drawing, my new drawing. It's really, really amazing." So I just came, and this is the drawing. So you have to appreciate that, because just before that, the all drawing he ever made before that was just shapes and abstract shapes and lines. And immediately, in one day, he drew, this tree and so I was really, really excited. And my automatic first reaction was, "Wow, did you do all that by yourself?" And of course, he was happy and felt very proud. And then it occurred, like a few minutes after it, struck me that this kind of reaction that I just did is just the default. I always react like that, and in fact, I always experience that reaction from the childhood, from the time I'm a child. When I'm doing something good at my own, people ask, "Oh, you did that by your own." So we are very encouraging. I would say, the success of the individual. But never someone is asking you when a child is doing something very, very successful, never is being asked, "Wow, did you do that with your friends?" Because really we encourage individual success in our society. And why? I mean, why is that? Why we so much emphasize the success of individual rather than the success of corporations? And I would like to claim that, or to suggest that it's really inherent in our society, evolution-wise, because the progress of society has been made mostly by individual success. And then you can ask, okay, but why is that? Why not corporations? Large corporations. And I think we have never experienced good taste and power of large corporations, really large corporations. I'll tell you what I mean by that. And then you ask, but why? Why haven't we experienced good, large-scale, free, and nice corporations? And the answer is that we are missing some tools for that. We simply don't know how to do that. So it's not easy. It's not easy. There is a reason for why a corporation doesn't work. And this is the reason. It's called Nash equilibrium. And let me just shortly describe you what is the mathematical claim here. We all live in non-cooperative state, which means that each of us has his own interest and we're not cooperating most of the time. Now this situation is in Nash equilibrium, which basically just means that for me, just by myself, to change my habits or my actions will not be rewarding. So there is no incentive for any separate individual to change his habit by his own. And that's true also for 10 individuals or maybe 1,000 individuals. Only when you have a massive or critical mass of individuals who change together their habits, only then it becomes fruitful and gainful for everyone. Okay. Now that idea happens all the time. So it's true that it also happens in Azuz with ride sharing. If I will by myself try to make ride sharing, it won't work. And also if 1,000 of us will make that, it won't work. But if 100,000 people in some specific geographic location will do that at once, it will start working and it will be a new service that everyone can enjoy. But this instance of non-cooperative states which require critical mass to change, it happens all the time. So for example, I like to keep the environment. So whenever there are like plastic cups, I would have liked not to use them. But what can I do with that? I mean, if I can just choose to refuse to drink at that point. But then this is above the threshold of what I'm willing maybe to participate for my cause. Or I can just generate a movement and a revolution, but again, it probably is higher than the threshold of activity that I would like to position myself with. Or I can just simply refuse doing or not following my ideology and simply use the plastic cup. And it's kind of amusing that maybe there are millions of people, and maybe each of them thinks the same. And if they were just being synchronizing, maybe they will all choose to do the action together, and then it will be meaningful and fruitful. So, but there is a gap. There is a gap between non-cooperative states, which is in Nash equilibrium, and the cooperative state, which is also in Nash equilibrium, but there is no way to jump from that to the other. So that's where we're stuck most of our life, most of the day. Okay. By the way, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. Question or comments?
Maybe it's something about Nash equilibrium.
So the Nash equilibrium is the equilibrium of any equilibrium of many players in a game, which means that each of the player has no incentive to change his own habits by himself, because if he's changing his position, he's not gaining anything, he's just losing. So if any of the player is in an optimal position for himself, so that he won't like to change his position, then this is called the Nash equilibrium. Okay, so now I would like to claim that, so this was the situation for thousands of years, basically. And I think it means that there was no single known large-scale, free and systematic cooperation of people. Never known in the history. So think about it. Any cooperation that you know is either not free, strictly free, or not large-scale, or not systematic. So non-systematic, for example, in a soccer game, there is this wave that everybody are standing. So this is actually a large-scale cooperation, but it's not systematic, and it's free. Everyone just do that by their own, without any laws or anything. But it's not systematic because they cannot use this force to generate other actions. So it's not systematic. And so if you take out any of those words, you can find examples, but you cannot find an example where for a large-scale, free and systematic cooperation with people. And this is quite unfortunate because, I mean, if you had large-scale cooperation, it would be just awesome. I mean, just imagine now that we have something, a new chip here, and millions of us can take decisions like that together. Okay? Millions or billions of people can choose to take their money out of the bank at once. What will happen? Complete crash. And we don't need billions. We need probably, I don't know, probably some people here can tell me better, but probably not even a million probably can crash the economy in a specific region by just cashing out their cash from the bank. So, but much more than that, also in non-destructive actions can be done, and really the force, the power that millions of people synchronize together is unimaginable. And it's unimaginable because we never experienced it. But I'm claiming that it goes far beyond anything that we are used to. So that was supposed to kind of convince you that this is a good or important thing to pursue.
Just maybe one thing that, like one decision, like throwing out a government, can be done already by, let's say, Facebook, but doing something fruitful or some creative act is more than one act. So
creative, but
You mean until now it is mostly reaction?
I like to slightly change it. I think it's the matter is not whether it's instructive or destructive. I think it's the matter is how much effort. It's true that to crash things is easier than to build things. That's true. The threshold is lower. But for both, there is a threshold. Even to make a revolution, you need a lot of effort. I think still it's not effortless. But if we had effortless means to make actions, then of course to crash will be very, very easy, but also we can also build things and make a new reality. So, okay, so I would like to claim here that for the first time in human history, there is a systematic game strategy to start from a non-cooperative state and end in a cooperative state. And this strategy is something called a DApp scheme, or decentralized application scheme. Let me tell you briefly what that means. So the idea is that you need somehow to incentivize those early birds that would like to make an action to cooperate. So at the beginning, it's not beneficial for them, right? They're just losing. So you like to give them incentive which is higher than the loss they experience for their action. Okay. So the way you do that, you are generating a new token. Okay. For example, in the case of Lazuz and ride-sharing, you generate a Zuz token. There you want to achieve a critical mass of participants, of cooperators that are willing to do ride-sharing. But that's true for any other application. So you're introducing a token, and with that token, you're introducing a distribution protocol, which basically mathematically realizes or manifests the sentence, whoever contributes to the establishment of that cooperation is rewarded accordingly with tokens, with that tokens. Okay. So whoever contributes to the establishment of the ride-sharing network is rewarded with Zuz tokens. But if our cooperation is about making a decentralized insurance, then whoever is establishing decentralized insurance is rewarded with insurance points, and so on. Now, any sort of action which helps to establish that cooperation is rewarded. It can be building code, or promoting, or anything else, but it can also be just adopting, just using the non-working service, which is what we are doing in Lazuz. So we are asking users to download an application that doesn't do any ride-sharing. It just sits there in the background, and you can just drive with it. And for that, they receive Zuz tokens, because they're participating. They are willing to break this gap from non-cooperative to cooperative, and for that, they are rewarded. So that's the first and second stages. And the third stage is now to tie up, to have a model, to tie up the same tokens to the final service that is built up in this cooperation. So for example, in the case of ride-sharing, once the critical mass of people is established, there is a new service which is available. This is ride-sharing or any other transportational collaborative service. And then to purchase the service, for example, rider will purchase ride from drivers, then they will pay with those tokens. Okay, so you tie up the purchase of the obtained service to the token that you just distributed at the beginning, and as soon as you're reaching a critical mass, there is a new service in the world. I mean, many people participated in generating it, but now many more people would like to use it. Those people don't have the tokens, so they need to purchase that tokens, and then they generate real value in the world for that tokens, and retrospectively reward those early birds for their development. That is the general scheme is clear, right? Okay. So many people are asking me, but isn't that a kind of a pyramid scheme, right? And the answer is that yes, it is a pyramid scheme, but it's a good pyramid scheme. So let me tell you what is a bad pyramid scheme. A bad or Ponzi scheme, Ponzi scam also, is one that someone is starting something and then he's just bringing more people. So he's earning from the people he's bringing. So he's earning from the next layer in the pyramid. And they're earning from the next layer in the pyramid and so on and so forth. Until the end, the bottom of the pyramid is simply losing money, and that's it. And then they're just paying for the whole scam, for the whole people who earn money. So that's why it's just a scam, just people losing money. Here, it's true. I haven't emphasized it. Thank you. I haven't emphasized it, but also the distribution protocol should be such that the earlier you are contributing, the higher the risk that you're working for, like the higher the risk that you are taking, because the farther you are from your success, and thus the more tokens that you should be obtaining for each contribution. Okay? So that's why it's a pyramid. And indeed, the earliest contributors risk the most, they have the most stakes in it, so that's why they also receive more tokens, and then the next, and the next, and that's built like a pyramid, indeed. But that's a pyramid which just reflects risk, a game which reflects risk. But now, what about the bottom of the pyramid? The bottom of the pyramid, thanks. So this is the vent pyramid, and the bottom of it, it's okay?
Yeah, to the other side of the screen.
Okay. And it's fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So the bottom here in the vent pyramid is just the bottom of the pyramid, so simply lose their money. Now in a good pyramid, they are taking risk more risk, more gain. And then the bottom of the pyramid are simply people who joined at the latest time. They are simply endpoint users.
They are the losers.
No, because they are purchasing a service or a product. So they are not losing. They are just buying, and they are just paying for the development of that service to that pyramid. So it's a good pyramid scheme, and that's why it works. It works because for each participator has a double incentive. He has the incentive, he has stakes in it, he has the incentive to make it successful and to bring other people. That's why Bitcoin actually worked. From nothing to billions of dollars in a few years with no management. Okay? So that's the scheme. Okay, so with that, let me try to tell you a bit about Bitcoin. You're very familiar with Bitcoin already, but let me tell you that as an example for decentralized application. And then we'll generalize that for generic operation. Okay, so I'm defining decentralized application in the following way. It's an application that is have no central, of course, entity or no central management. It's completely peer-to-peer. It's composed of free actions. Okay, anyone can contribute whatever he wants. It's completely free. It's rewarding. Okay, rewarding contributions. And anything else that I'm forgetting? Okay, let's stay with that. Okay, so what happens with Bitcoin? What is the contribution that is obtaining reward? Right? So Bitcoin, reward, mining. Right? Now mining is very important, right? Because that's what enables security for the network. But is it the only contribution that one can make to make that happen? Well, can have coding, someone needed to develop the Bitcoin or keep on developing, maintaining the development, PR, design, marketing, services. I mean, well, services, if you make services, you can also charge for them, and then you have a different revenue track. But if you're just developing the Bitcoin code or anything like that, you're not receiving any reward, right?
They're simply using it is already a contribution.
Right. But that's true. That's true. So you reward mining, so which gives security, but it doesn't reward user. Well, yeah. In some indirect ways, reward early users by that they purchase the money in cheaper rate. You're right. There is no direct reward for users. There is no direct reward for any other actions. Yeah.
But in the very early days, it was actually possible that every user could just start mining. It wasn't like now where you need to have essentially mining.
That's true.
So it was like that in the early days.
But you couldn't again. You could mine, but firstly, not every people can mine. No.
No, in the original day, in the early days, the regular Bitcoin client had a button, I want to mine, and let it mine.
Okay.
It was
Perhaps, but still, if you make code, you need some code development, but you don't reward it. So there was no direct incentive to make code development. There was no direct incentive to adopt it in the community, to spread it, to market it, to design. There was no direct incentive for most action actually. And let's see what is the result of that. The miner sector, the only single sector that was rewarded, how much well adopted it is, how much saturated is it? So the answer is fully. The miner sector is fully saturated in Bitcoin, completely. And how about any other sector? How about code development sector? How many developers are fully dedicated to $3 to $5 billion economy? Under 6. So you see, rewarded actions works. Unrewarded actions doesn't work. And that's important. That's a very important lesson I will get back to at the end of the talk. And now my computer want to join the Wi-Fi of Mid-Berlin. How do I tell it? So this is the time machine. You can the serendipity machine of Mid's system. How do I go out of that? To control of my computer. Okay. So Bitcoin is a decentralized application, but what are the problems? What are the issues? So firstly, no direct reward, for general action, for general contribution. Okay? This is a problem. It's a big problem because it really blocks more adoption. What are more problems?